Hey everyone, this is Dom Death 92. So I couldn't upload what happened last time because it was barely nothing, but I'm not gonna discuss what I found out. We did find the fragment of that statue, so technically.
What should we do?
So now we have enough to prove once and for all who did it. 2 out of 3 has a motive. Two people killed the guy. One. But the syndicate, I believe, still took plans because they mentioned something about revenge. How is that possible? I don't know. But we will find out soon enough.
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask. It appears to open after being soaked with... This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with... This is a strange... No reaction. This plant becomes inactive after... This plant becomes inactive. No reaction. It closed again. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it. No reaction. My word. It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagine that it... My word. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed. No. It appears to open. It closed again. I wonder what secrets this plant... This plant becomes inactive. My... It appears to have fallen inactive. It appears to... It closed again. I wonder what secrets...
Ooh, I think I know what to do.
It appears... This plant seems to have had no reaction. Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary. The plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some...
Interesting. I still doubt the syndicate would kill someone. Because they may be plant lovers, but they're not murderers. At least that's not what I know. But that's just how I see it. Why hold off, and I could have accused the syndicate. Something didn't feel right. And that's a perfect example. Not...
Can you tell me if you saw Mr...
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around... He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious? Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White? What?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, but then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
I don't think he could have done it. The sound of his voice that he's devastated and too chicken shit to do it. So that leaves Hamish and Miss White. So let's find this Miss White, huh? They're gonna have a nice little talk.
Can you tell me what Mr.
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was...
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you...
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy...
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
No, it wasn't like that. When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system.
True. But they said they wouldn't step in a place like this, if I remember correctly. But they also said they'd do anything to get their plants back.
First of all, I need to visit the Colonial Collection Room to see how those caterpillars dropped on...
Oh, whoops. That's not bad. But we all know the 3 stories. One is lying, still.